In today's episode of BizJet TV, we're going to be debunking the myth that old aircraft are dangerous. Now, you're buying a private jet, or you want to charter a private jet or lease a jet. A lot of the brokers out there are saying that you need a new jet. Oh, this is a new jet. New jets are better than old jets. That's not true. And I know that for a fact because, I've flown new jets, I've flown old jets. Let's just think of the 737 Maxes that crashed. Those two airplanes that killed a lot of people were actually new aircraft. And they crashed. So, there you go. And that's happened fairly recently. So, that's one thing. What you need to be looking at and is more how the aircraft is operated and how it's maintained. That's really, really important. I mean, there is a private jet outfit right now out there that's pushing their new shiny jets. And that's how they promote themselves. But what most people don't know is that the pilots are constantly fatigued. And there's an accident waiting to happen there. So there you are. You've just chartered your nice Global Express. And off you go halfway around the world in this airplane, and the pilots are fatigued. Now, pilot fatigue is something that's playing into a lot of accidents at the moment, and scientific studies have proven that a fatigued pilot is like a drunk pilot. Now, I've been a fatigued pilot before. It's happened to me. And, do you really want to be flying around in a nice, shiny Gulfstream G550 with a drunk pilot? Or would you prefer a sober pilot? Because a fatigued pilot is like a drunk pilot. And whether the airplane's new or whether the airplane is old, it doesn't matter. If the guy's drunk, fatigued, it's just like being drunk, the airplane could potentially crash with you on it. So, forget the whole new jet thing, because there are older jets out there. And let's face it, when you travel with the airlines, do you ever ask, or have you ever asked the airline when you booked your ticket, how old is the airplane I'm going to be flying on? Because most of the time, the airplanes are 15 to 20 years old. That's a fact. So, same with private jets. You need to look at, if you're buying a jet, you need to look at how this airplane's been flown. You need to look at the cycles. You need to look at the maintenance. Has preventative maintenance been done? But if you have an airplane and preventative maintenance has always been done on this airplane, it's been flown a certain way, even a 15 to 20-year-old Gulfstream is going to work. Believe me, it will. And you can buy an older airplane these days. You can buy a G5 or a Falcon 7X for less than $15 million these days, and put a new interior in it, and new paint job, and off it goes. And it smells like a new airplane. And sometimes, older airplanes fly even better than new airplanes. I mean, I remember when I was taking delivery of the Dornier 328 jets, this was a brand new airplane. We'd go to the factory, pick it up, take it, put it into service. And often the airplane would have problems the first few weeks. And the last thing you want is for the airplane to break down when you're on a business trip, because as I always tell people in the private jet space, the reason why people charter private jets or lease or buy a private jet is because they're looking to save time. So you're looking to save time. You're buying time. You're not buying a jet. You're chartering time. You charter this private jet to get you from A to B, and it's going to be a lot quicker than going with the airlines. And that's the ultimate reason. So these are the things you need to look at. So forget the age of the airplane. As long as this thing's been maintained, it's got a fairly decent interior. But even on the interior, I mean, even if the seats have a couple of scratches and you're chartering the airplane, who cares? You just need to get to Auckland, New Zealand from Los Angeles, and you need to get there quickly. You're sitting in the airplane for, 15 hours, 20 hours, whatever it is. Who cares if there's a little scratch on one of the seats? Unless you are, image is important, you've got some guests on the airplane, you want an interior that's in pristine condition. But even then, you could charter an airplane or even buy an airplane that's got a brand new interior. And your guests won't even be able to tell the difference. They'll get on the plane and say, oh, this is nice. And the subject of age, and even if the subject of age does come up, you can explain to them, well, I've been smart here. What I've done is I bought this airplane for 12 million. I spent 2 million on a really nice interior. And instead of buying a new plane for 40 million, it flies really well. I've been flying it for the last 6 months. It's a great airplane. I think your guest is going to think, this guy's smart. Instead of spending 40 million on a new jet, he's bought an older one. He's put a new interior in it. It's customized. It's exactly what he wanted. He's got the carpet that he wants, the type of seats that he wants. He's got the in-flight entertainment system that he wants, perfectly designed and customized. He's got his name on the seats. I'm sure someone's going to be more impressed with that than with the new jet. So, these are the things that you can do with an older jet. And an older jet can be just as safe, if not safer, than the new jet. Because as I said, depends on the maintenance and how it's flown. Those are the key factors. Those are the questions you've been asking. It's the same when you buy an airplane. Don't get all focused on the plane. you've got to think afterwards, how is this thing going to be maintained? And if you're living in a certain area of the world, you want to make sure the airplane is kept in a hangar at all times. Keep it safe, keep it, you know, away from, especially if you live in an area where there's a desert or near a beach. You know, sand can get into the engines, and can get into the flats and whatever, and that can cause all sorts of problems. Or if you're living in a very humid place, corrosion could happen. So you want to keep the airplane in the hangar. Or if you're buying an airplane and it was based in a region like that, was it kept in a hangar at all times? These are more important factors than the age of the aircraft. Because if you take a 3-year-old airplane, you keep it outside all the time in the desert, you know, it's gonna get damage caused by the sand. Compared to maybe a 15-year-old airplane that's always been kept in the hangar. So, you know, these are more important factors than the age of the airplane. So I hope I've answered your questions on this one. Let's get the comments going below. Give us a thumbs up if you like this, or even better, give us a super thanks. It helps the channel to keep producing really good content here. And check out this other video I did recently about 5 tips, 5 things you need to look for if you are going to be buying an airplane with damage history. And that's all from Fabrizio Poli here on BizJet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.